duties at the toss, tells the Aussies which way they are running. And Willie Mason, we've seen recently what damage he's done to both the Kiwis and the Poms. We'll see what happens to the Americans here tonight. It will be the Australians who will receive the football. And for you American fans perhaps joining us for a rugby league game tonight for the first time, football, as far as we know it, is similar to your own type of football. Instead of having 4 downs in a possession, no, you get 6 tackles. Then you have to kick it if you can't score, just like your style of football, where you get 3 plays. If you're not in field position, Anthony, you've got to kick it.
Yeah, that's where you would punt it. It's our football it comes from your football. You know, Australian rules football is the genesis of American football. And I think that's my first indoctrination into rugby. And everybody here was very excited at having and being able to host this game tonight.
We are just about ready. It is the former Huddersfield and Canberra Raider before that player, Brandon Costin, who will place the ball at the halfway line or the 50-yard line if you like. This is a regulation American football field tonight, a little narrower than what we're used to in the NRL. And you would figure that that could only favour the Americans, with their defensive line obviously going to be stretched throughout this game by the world champions. We are underway here in Philadelphia. Big-time rugby league comes to the city of brotherly love when the kickoff is taken by Matt Singh, who had such a super game in the Tri-Nations final just a short few days ago at Elland Road in Leeds. He plays it as the Australians work it outside their 20. They take it up. The Americans get up eagerly in defence to start this game. The ball comes loose, though, from Mark O'Mealy, and the Americans are penalised for raking it out in the tackle.
It was a good start there by the United States team. They really got the numbers in the tackle. They tried to slow down the play of the ball, but as you can see here, there was interference as O'Mealy was getting up to play the ball. Your hands must be away from the football. Otherwise, if it does come loose, there will be a penalty given.
As we said, this game will be played in 4 20-minute quarters. Warren Smith, Laurie Daly and Anthony Gargano bringing you the action here tonight from this famous venue at the University of Pennsylvania, as Nathan Hindmarsh is tackled some 15 metres short of the halfway line. And I'm sure the Australians are a little bit tentative as to the nature of the playing surface early on here. A couple of very easy hit-ups from Hindmarsh, followed by Mason.
Well, I think that's the key, Warren. They weren't exposed to this outfield. They turned up this afternoon. They had a look at it. They got here early and watched the Coogee Dolphins, but I think they were still a bit reluctant to actually take part in the field. But I think once the game warms up, they get into it, they'll be okay.
Timmins breaks the line to play it 40 metres out from the American line. Scott Hill in the unaccustomed role of the dummy half tonight. Comes to Kamali, who put it down. It looked like a knock-on. Play-on was the call from our referee, Rob Irwin. And the Americans get a touch of the football for the first time, and a strong tackle made by Hindmarsh. He picked up Danny Bull and drove him back to the turf.
Well, you can see already the intensity with the Australian defensive line, Warren. They would be upset with their start to this game. Been a little bit sloppy, but they will pick the intensity up.
Matt Astle, a former lower grader with the Manly Sea Eagles and Newtown Jets as well, who now lives in New York. He's been here for 3 years, took it up on the previous play. He is one of the captains and coaches of one of the teams in the local American National Rugby League here as Peterson plays it. It comes from Vasilopoulos, and they work it back through now the forwards, taking it up towards the Australian 20. A chance early on here for the American Tomahawks. Christian Rahui tries to come through and put a grubber down. Vasilopoulos toes it forward, picked up by Bowen. It comes to Brent Tate in this compacted field. It looks pretty busy out there at times down through the middle as Mason has it, as we take a look again at the Vasilopoulos attempted grubber. He might have just got a toe on it before the ball hit the ground.
What about the tackle, though? What about the tackle of Rick Dortoni? Sensational. Just coming in off his wing.
Here's O'Mealy flopping it out the back. Comes away through the hands there of Darren Lockyer. What a game he had against Great Britain in the final. Hot potato stuffed at the moment. They'll play it here through Singh. Peterson trying to slow the ball down, gets in, and Singh might be unhappy to see the referee blow the whistle and rule a knock-on against him.
Can I ask you, could it possibly be any possibility of a letdown by the Aussie team? You know, you have a long trip, you're an overwhelming favorite. How much does that come into play in the mindset of the Aussie team?
I think it does. I think the first 5 to 10 minutes, they will want to know what the Americans are throwing at them. They will be competitive, but they're just sussing out their opponent at the moment. I think, though, if Wayne Bennett can get hold of them at quarter time, he might give them a rocket or two. Lazy start, but look, that's what you would expect. It's been a long season for the Aussies.
We might see the Rockets' red flare coming out of the dressing room, Laurie.
Well, we could do, Warren.
Peterson gets to dummy half to try and control things from the ruck for the moment as Costin turns it back on the inside. The Americans here just 15 yards away from the Australian try line. Astle takes up to be met by Mason, who ups the ante suddenly. He grabbed him and back-slammed him. Peterson with a decoy play. Runs in behind the man there on the block play and takes it to within 5 metres of the Australian line. Vasilakopoulos waits at dummy half. Astle wants the ball, but he goes back to the left-hand side. Danny Bull in the centres tries to crash his way over. He might have got across the line, but Brent Tate and Matt Singh, with the help of Hindmarsh, combined to push him back into the field of play. Last play here. The kick isn't a bad one. The in-goal areas are rather deep here, and the Americans will get the ball back from a goal line dropout.
A great start by the Americans. Matty Peterson, well-weighted kick into the in-goal. Rooney, he had to knock the ball dead, and if you do that, you get an extra set of 6.
Peterson taking it to the left-hand side, looking to be the playmaker here tonight and reveling in the role. The American coach, the Tomahawks coach, John Cartwright, of course, an assistant to Ricky Stewart at the Sydney Roosters, as Nate Smith goes under a tackle and he gets to within an inch of the line. He'll play it. The Americans, through Eric Hollingsworth, are denied once again. Vasilakopoulos from dummy half gives it to Astle, but there is no way through the likes of Willie Mason and also Scott Hill. What a break it was by Nate Smith. Vasilakopoulos again to Peterson. In behind the decoy of Rahui. Still going. Gets across the line. And the Liberty Bell might ring once again in Philadelphia because the Tomahawks are first to score.
Oh, my. This is incredible. Listen to that crowd. What does this mean now? The fact that we were talking before the broadcast that just if the Americans could score one touchdown, it would be a feat near they're in the lead.
Exactly right, and they could have scored when Nate Smith made a break, but it came down to Matty Peterson. He's been looking to this game, looking to try and impress. He's from Sydney, plays with the Parramatta club, going through the tackle of Mark O'Mealy, pushing out of Matty Bowen's tackle, putting the ball down. The USA first on the scoreboard, and they will be pumped after that. And I must say, well, we have to give our thanks and congratulations to the Parramatta Football Club for allowing Matt Peterson to come over here and play, to their coach Brian Smith. He realised the importance of international football.
You're exactly right. Nate Smith, who made the bust to get them in that field position to start with, is the kicker for the American side, a former kicker with the University of Louisville in Kentucky, a native Kentuckian himself, and the kick was a good one, and the Americans lead 6 points to 0.
That's a good story about this kid. He was one of the guns at Louisville University, broke all the records of David Akers, the Philadelphia Eagles kicker.
Their place kicker.
Watched the game on TV and wanted to be more than a kicker. He wanted to run with the football. He's already made a break in this game. He is someone that I'm sure people will be looking out for.
Impressive so far in this game has been the winger Nate Smith. The kickoff here on this narrow field. Darren Lockyer will have to readjust the sights because it sailed over the sideline, and the Australians trailing 6 points to 0 now give away a penalty at the halfway line, and we're almost midway through this first quarter. You see the kick again, sailing well over the sideline, and Wayne Bennett, a mystified look at the moment, can't quite believe what he's seeing. And if the Australians have taken a light-hearted approach to the start of this game, as you said, Laurie, that may change in double quick time. Here's Astle taking it up, and suddenly there's a bit of intensity here from the Australian forward pack. Hindmarsh and O'Mealy coming in to crunch him. They work it forward again. A good charge there from Ian Blake, a player you may well see playing in the NRL in the next couple of years. Vasilakopoulos playing as it goes to the right-hand side. Costin, a cutout ball. And Rick D'Ortoni out there on the wing, unable to handle it, made the knock on. And the Australians will come up with possession through a scrum feed just 10 metres out from their own line. I mentioned Ian Blake, Laurie. He will play more than likely with the Toowoomba Clydesdales, the feeder club for the Brisbane Broncos this year. Originally from Austin, Texas. And he will get a chance to show what he can do. He was playing rugby in the tertiaries competition in Queensland over the last couple of years while studying up there in Brisbane. And the talent scouts at the Broncos saw him play. They liked what they saw. He gets a chance to impress once again against the Aussies here tonight.
Well, it's a good story, and it shows you that there's talented players out there from a young age, and it's just a matter about developing in whatever sport. They do see the game of rugby league. That's how the game of rugby league started over here. They saw it in the park, and people come down and wanting to play it. And all of a sudden now it's up to a 10-team competition.
Kamali at first receiver, comes to Mason, who throws the cutout ball, intercepted by Nate Smith, and the Americans have possession again just 30 metres out from the Australian line. Danny Bull works it back midfield.
Well, that's something you don't see too often in the game in Australia. Willie Mason going cut-out balls. His job is just to cut the ball forward.
Costin bounces off the shoulder there of O'Mealy before Mason comes in to wrap him up. He's 15 out from the line as they go to the right-hand side. And again, it's Blake who carts it forward. He'll play it just in front of the post as they come left. Pearson turns it back on the inside there. Good charge from Shane Maines, a player who almost made it in the NFL with the New York Giants. A charge from dummy half by Vasilakopoulos, the former Sheffield Eagles player who was part of the championship-winning team back in 1998 in the UK Super League. But the ball has come loose here, I think, after the referee, Robert Irwin, said he was held, and the Australians will have possession here through a scrum. There's the cutout ball again attempted by Willie Mason, and Nate Smith is showing himself to be something of an athlete in his first ever year of rugby league.
Are you surprised at this start by the United States so far? Very spirited, being able to, they look excited and pumped and actually confident.
They are. They're playing some terrific football, but one thing when you play the Australians, you're only 3 sets of 6 away from having a scoreline put on you. They're that good at controlling the football. Yes, it has been a lazy start. I think we expected that at the start of the game. But they've got some outstanding footballers in this team and plenty of speed out wide to capitalise on any half breaks.
Mason taking it forward, flops it out the back to Mark O'Mealy, who was having a breather. He works it up towards the halfway line. The Australians with no chances to put a point on the board so far in the opening almost 11 minutes of this game. Timmins takes it up towards the 50. He'll play it here deep in the tackle count as Hill gets the dummy half, a one-handed pickup, tries to put a ball on to Singh, taken by Nate Smith, and you can say goodbye because the man they call Seabiscuit wins the race to the finishing post.
Wow.
2 tries unanswered by the American Tomahawks. And if the Australians have taken the game lightly, that will change right now, and they are on their feet in the bleachers here at Franklin Field.
Well, it certainly would. They didn't learn from their mistake. Willie Mason went a long pass out to the winger of Nate Smith. He took the intercept, and then Scott Hill from the dummy half position going down a short side, trying to put Matt Singh away. Nate Smith has been playing an up and in defence. He's come in between the player. He's received the football, plenty of speed. Second try of the night for the United States, and they are on fire.
As we take a look at it again, Nate Smith made a trip to Australia with the American Tomahawk side. There's nothing more than a fact-finding mission to take a look at rugby league at a higher level earlier this year and spend some time with the Parramatta Eels, and he might attract the attention of more NRL clubs on his display here in the opening quarter. No dramas with the artificial turf as he dived into the in-goal area, and here he is now trying to convert his own try to, believe it or not, make it 12 points to 0 to the Americans over the Australians.
We talked about this before, about equating to American football. This is like an NFL team going up against a high school team. And maybe a light Division III school. This is amazing when you look at the crowd here. Remember, this is the home, we talked about it before this broadcast, of Rocky, the fictitious character, and the American team looks like that thus far.
Well, I'm stunned. I'm stunned that the Australians are behind by 12 points. But having said that, I still know that the talent they've got in this side. I think after the rocket they will receive from Wayne Bennett at quarter time will be enough to then inspire them.
And they respond with a kick straight to the sideline with the short field here as far as the width of it is concerned. He takes the chance to drive one low and hard over the sideline. And the Kangaroos will get their best chance in attack in the game so far. They'll have it from just 25 metres out from the American line.
Well, we talk about completion rates in the game of rugby league, and at the moment it's certainly not high.
Kamali goes to Lockyer, who throws a ball on the outside to Matt Cooper, getting a chance for the Australians here tonight. He'll play it just 6 yards out. Bowen at dummy half as they come back to the right. Lockyer, a ball to O'Mealy, who scored some big tries in the finals campaign for the Bulldogs this year in the NRL. He almost lost the Stars and Stripes ball behind his back. Kamali back on the inside. It comes back to Timmins. The defence, though, once again up pretty quickly, putting pressure on him, and they stop him about 7 metres away. Lockyer gets the ball. It comes to Kamali. He looks on his outside, turns it back on the inside to Kennedy. He stands in the tackle a while as well. They've got just 2 tackles left in this set of 6. Mason again, the playmaker. A lovely ball to O'Mealy, who will crash across the line. Did he get the ball down? No, he didn't. Held up, says Rob Irwin. And the Aussies will get it back with a scrum feed on the last play.
And Mark O'Mealy showing the Australian forwards what to do as a quick play the ball. They go left to Darren Lockyer. A lovely ball to Matty Bowen onto the chest and drops it.
Bowen getting across the line as we came back out of the replay. And a chance for the Australians goes begging here. Lockyer, a lovely ball off the hip, and Bowen only had to hang on to it to score. And the Australians stay scoreless for the time being.
Well, you can see the intensity now starting to lift. They got to the end of their tackle. If they had held that football there, Bowen would have been able to score. They were held up over the line. And Mark O'Mealy is showing the Australian forwards what they need to do. Go forward before using the ball wide. Get the defensive line moving backwards.
Vasilakopoulos tapping it as they take it forward. And a good charge there made by Ian Blake. He ducked under the tackle to play it at the halfway line. Vasilakopoulos again to Astle, who bumped off the shoulder there of Mason. I'm sure he can scarcely believe the company he's keeping here tonight. Rahui met there by Hindmarsh, picked up some good metres. The Australians standing on their heels at the moment in the defensive line, waiting for the Americans to come to them as the fullback, Herring Hollingsworth, plays it at the 30-metre line. Chris Waters, another Australian with American heritage, born here, of course, in Iowa. He still has a lot of family here. And of Guildford Owls player in Sydney, he gets his chance tonight against the Kangaroos. Can you believe he's out there tonight in this exalted company? The ball put down by the Australians, but the Americans were up inside the kicker. Rick D'Ortoni, a little bit too keen coming through on the charge to try and get to the ball first. The Australians take a quick tap, and it's Hill who works it up 25 out from his own line.
I think they need to do a lot more of the Australians. Obviously, they've got to go forward, but they've got to play a high-tempo game. They are professionals. You would expect the United States to tire late in the game, so do everything at a high-paced game.
Here's Hindmarsh trying to spin in the tackle there, but stopped by Matt Astle. He'll play it back to Lockyer, doing some work from dummy half suddenly. O'Mealy charging at them. The ball goes over the head of Darren Lockyer, chased by Peterson, who knocked it away from him, grabbed by Cooper, and it's play on, says the referee. The Tomahawks, another chance, looking for their 3rd try of the game. It comes away to Rahui. They'll stop him just 10 yards out from the line. Eventually they get into ground. Timmins and Kamali making the tackle. Vasilakopoulos from dummy half, charging again, trying to force his way across. Keen to get across the line himself here as it comes back once again to Christian Rahui. He'll play it just a yard or so away from the line. Blake, just a short pass off the ruck, wasn't going to get past Nathan Hindmarsh or Willie Mason. They're lined to the left-hand side here, and Peterson, Grubbers once more for the in-goal area. Some pressure on Matt Bowen. He fires a pass to Matt Singh. He goes again to Luke Rooney, who gallops back into the field of play, and the Australians have done very well to bring it back.
That was confidence there by the Australians. They realised they didn't want a repeat set of 6 where they would have had to defend, but instead they kept the ball alive.
Tate it is, who brings it back out towards the 20. Just over 2 minutes remaining in this first quarter, and the American Tomahawks, they lead the Kangaroos 12 points to 0 as Bowen goes to Lockyer. He cuts back on the inside to give it to Tate, who is wrapped up by this American defence, which is working keenly at the moment. We'll see how much gas they've got in the tank. The ball comes loose. Will Brazier, one of the players for the Tomahawks, had a crack at it. He missed it. Bowen had it, and then it was put down by Darren Lockyer, the best player in the world, had a golden chance to score.
What about the footwork of Matty Bowen? That's why he's one of the exciting players in the NRL competition. Darren Lockyer. Very rarely would you see this. Matty Bowen, lovely ball on the Lockyer. Just knocking it down, kicking the ball forward. Another chance gone begging there for the Australians.
What kind of effect does this have now? As this game goes further and you see the opportunities missed by Australia, does it creep in the back of your mind that, hey, this underdog's got a chance?
Well, I think the longer the game goes and the more that the Australians are behind on the scoreboard, they might think like that. But at the moment, they still know that there's 61 minutes left in this game. There'll be plenty more opportunities, but they have to show a little bit more patience with the football. They're trying to rush things here at the moment.
The Tomahawks take it down the middle of the park into Australian territory once again. Roger Tuamaloa from dummy half doing the work here for Will Brazier, who will play it just 35 out from the Australian line. They've had a couple of chances, the Aussies, but coughed up 2 certain tries as the ball goes in the air. Some pressure on Matt Singh, who at the last moment looked at Matt Bowen. He didn't want to know too much about it. There was confusion amongst the two of them, and the Tomahawks have it again. Here's Peterson. He will play it just 6 metres away from the Australian line. Some concern amongst the Aussies at the moment as Tuamaloa goes to Ian Blake. He's stopped there by Mason and also Kennedy. They take it to the right-hand side. They work it there towards the wing of Rick D'Ortoni. Still just a couple of metres out. Tuamaloa fires a pass, not a bad one from dummy half. Oh, they look for a field goal, but it is waved away. And at quarter time in this Liberty Bell Cup match between the Australian Kangaroos and the USA Tomahawks, it's the Tomahawks, not the Australians, who lead 12-0.
Well, it's been a great game by the United States football team. They have played some outstanding football, and they have challenged the Australians when they've had the ball.
Matt Peterson has been very involved in a late field goal attempt by them. They tried to extend the scoreline to 13 points to nothing, and I'm sure Wayne Bennett will have plenty to say to the Aussies here at quarter time. If they've taken the Americans lightly, they might change their mind here as they get a short breather in Pennsylvania at the Franklin Field at University of Pennsylvania. We will take a break and come back with the action of the second quarter right after this.
Updating Fox Sports News. Former Australian cricket captain Steve Waugh says Pakistan's pace bowler Shoaib Akhtar will pose a real challenge for Australian batsmen in the first test in Perth. South Sydney greats John Sattler and Ron Coote are disappointed by the Rabbitohs' plan to relocate to North Sydney Oval in 2006. Souths intend to rename the Oval Rabbitoh Park if they adopt the venue as a home ground. And former AFL star Tony Lockett has kicked one of the biggest goals in greyhound racing. He sold his Melbourne Cup winner Hallucinate for an incredible $900,000.
Get the complete picture with Fox Sports News tonight at 7.
This December on Discovery Channel. What to know about the attempted assassination of Hitler. An infant's journey through the evolution of skills. And a showcase of some of our viewers' most requested specials. December on Discovery Channel.
This weekend from the Premiership, Chelsea-Newcastle kick off our Saturday night triple header at 11:40. Then it's Aston Villa-Liverpool. Monday, it's Palace-Charlton and Borough-Man City. All games live and only on Fox Sports.
Thank you for staying with us at Franklin Field here in Philadelphia as the USA Tomahawks, that scoreline is correct, lead the Australian Kangaroos 12 points to nil as we bring you this game live prime time here in the US on Fox Sports World and of course back home in Fox Sports Australia. A sweltering couple of days along the east coast of Australia, Laurie, and the action itself has been pretty hot if you're an American fan here at Franklin Field.
Well, it's been great. Nate Smith has come up with the 2 interceptions tonight. This one leading to a try. First of all, Willie Mason done a short side play with a long ball trying to get on the outside of Smith. And then it was Scott Hill, once again, long ball. He's an exciting player. You mentioned the fact that he did go out to Australia on a fact-finding mission. He's keen to impress NRL judges and get an opportunity out there in Australia, as the Australians are in the huddle. And I'm sure that Wayne Bennett, their coach, would have spoke to them about treating the opposition with a little bit more respect. Well, one thing I've got to say, the skill level of the United States team has been fantastic. They play the ball, their catch and pass has been fantastic.
Let's go downstairs to Rob Balachandran, who's with the USA Tomahawks coach, John Cartwright.
Hey guys, how are you? This is the best start the USA has ever had. Tell me what you're feeling right now.
Yeah, I'm very happy for the lads. I was a bit worried before the game started. You know, they're playing the world champions, but you know, they've done all the simple things well. They've done everything that we've asked of them, and they're, you know, the scoreboard, we're 12-0 up, but a long way to go.
You know better than anyone on the American side that you can never let your guard down with the Australian team. What are you telling your guys as they move forward in this next quarter?
Just try not to get too excited. They, you know, they're probably not in a position they expected to be in, so really just try not to get too excited. Keep playing the simple game that we set out to play. You know, just kick, chase, and tackle.
Good on you, John. Thank you.
Cheers. Thank you.
John Cartwright there with Rob Balachandran, liking what he's seen so far from his team in the first 20 minutes here. And we will be playing, as we said, in 20-minute quarters tonight. The referee coming back out, Rob Irwin, to get us back underway in Philadelphia.
Did you notice the American team, as they huddled up during the break, the smiles and exuberance? And I think it was interesting that Coach Cartwright was talking about just keeping your head and not getting too excited.
I think that's the key against Australia. I mentioned earlier the fact that the Australians on consecutive sets of 6 can put points on the board. They've got a great goal kicker out there in Lockyer. I wouldn't be panicking at this stage if I was the Australian, but I was just looking to them improve in certain areas of the game, as Lockyer once again finds touch off the kickoff.
Well, the Australians have very quickly worked out on this firm, far surface. You can drive it low and hard towards the sideline. And John Cartwright might have his hands full as far as a realignment is concerned with this American football-sized field, giving the kicking team a real chance to get possession back from the restart, and that's exactly what the Australians have done. They've had a couple of very good chances to score points in this game, but haven't come up with a try as yet, as Cooper is tackled. He gets it back to Matt Bowen, who was a real live wire. He will scoot across this artificial surface in a hurry if he gets the chance, as Hill comes to the right-hand side. O'Mealy running hard, but a good tackle made by Will Brazier underneath there with the help of Vasilakopoulos over the top. Here's Timmins taking it to the line, but he's stopped. And the Americans, aided by this compacted defensive line, doing a good job on top of their own goal line at the moment. The Australians have it just 6 metres away. That's where Hill plays it. Tate double pumps it, gives it back to Kamali. Then it comes to Nathan Hindmarsh. His Parramatta teammate there, Matt Peterson, in to make the tackle. He would have enjoyed that. They play it still 5 metres out. As Kamali, a cut-out ball to Kennedy. There's a chance for the Australians, but Bowen puts it down once again. Knock-ons both ways. There was almost a high tackle there on Rick D'Ortoni. Willie Mason throws out the hand and says, if I got you a bit high, mate, I'm sorry about that.
Again, the execution from the Australians. Just when they needed to catch and pass and play the football, it wasn't there, and on this occasion it was Matty Bowen. They worked the numbers well. Kennedy onto Bowen. Bowen had a little bit of a peak.
So the Americans doing very well. Pressed up against their own line on that occasion. Once again, Timmins makes a big hit. Danny Bull felt the full effect of that one as Vasilakopoulos comes to his right-hand side to give it to Brandon Costin, who goes straight through the tackle of Mark O'Mealy. He comes to Matt Bowen, and Kamali will make the tackle, dragging him down from behind. He's just 15 out from the Australian line. Going quickly was Gareth Gibbs. He takes it to within 5 yards of the line, but he's tackled on the last, and the Aussies hang on, but only just.
Well, they hung on just. Brendan Costin, a terrific break. He had problems with the hamstring earlier in the week, and I'm sure when he made that break, it was in the back of his mind. He didn't actually stretch out. Looked as though he was in half pace, 3/4 pace. But the Aussies defensively. They haven't been strong. Ball out to Cooper.
Now there's trouble. Here comes Cooper, stepping past a couple of them. He'll be tackled there eventually by Brandon Costin. Here's Bowen getting out of dummy half, pinching about 20 metres before he was stopped there by Ben Kelly. They go left again, down the short side. Hill, a lovely ball to Luke Rooney. Back on the inside to Scott Hill, who throws a ball over the top. Dropped by Matt Cooper. The Aussies bomb another one.
Wow, wow. How many opportunities?
That's the thing in the game of rugby league. You've got to take your opportunities when they present themselves. They've had 4 or 5 tries on the offering tonight, and they just haven't been able to hold that pass as the Australians now give away a penalty being inside the 10. You have to be back with the referee. And now it's the United States looking to play a high-paced game.
They will have it just outside the Australian 30. Some lovely play by the Aussies in the last set of 6. But here are the Tomahawks once again. They work it up towards the 25-yard line on this American football field. A charge down the middle of the park. Willie Mason didn't want to know too much about J.C. Roker. He dragged him down from behind and gave him a smile at the same time. Vasilakopoulos to Peterson. It comes away to Bull. He had support on his outside, but took it to ground a couple of yards away. Here is J.C. Roker again, stopped in no uncertain terms, still just a couple of yards out. Peterson, a grubber, off the legs of the Australians. He drops it backwards. It comes back here to Joe Becker in the headgear. He plays it 5 yards out. Last tackle. Peterson at first receiver will go to the air with the bomb. Rooney is out there for the Australians. When it comes down to the Tomahawks, Kamali got a touch to it. It was knocked backwards. It's still there. Danny Ball picks it up. Was it play on? Yes, it was. The Americans have their 3rd try, and it's 16 points to 0.
Do you believe in miracles, as Al Michaels here in the States used to say?
Well, the Australians, they went up for the football. They didn't come down with it. It was a great kick. Up in the air, there was plenty of chasers coming through, and it was touched by Kamali. Costin didn't think there was 6 to go. He put it on toe, and the next thing you know, it bounces up into the arms, and the Americans, Danny Bull scoring. Well, what a scoreline this is.
And look at the bounce. Perfect bounce right into his arms. Everything go the Americans' way. It's a magical night here in Philadelphia.
In Australia, we would call that a room service bounce.
I love it. Oh, my.
Laurie Daly has been spending too much time in hotels here in Philadelphia, keeping out of the cold, quite obviously, as the Australians stand behind the try line at the moment, looking at a 16-0 scoreline against them. The kick from Brandon Costin is good, and the Tomahawks lead the Australians 18 points to 0.
I spoke to Jeff Preston earlier today and for a while, and all he said, guys, was that we don't want to embarrass ourselves. That was the main goal of the United States, the Americans, coming into it.
Well, they certainly haven't embarrassed themselves here so far. In fact, we're on track at the moment for the miracle on artificial turf. Here's Lockyer, grubbering for himself, trying to get to the football, but some desperation shown there by the Americans, and Vasilakopoulos came up with it. A good hustle. And he did well with Lockyer on his hammer to come up with it. And they'll play it here through Jeff Preston, their captain. Just 15 metres on their own side of halfway, and again Robert Irwin here, the referee, has the Australians up inside the 10. Getting the rub of the green at the moment as Wayne Bennett watches on. He looks concerned, the coach, Laurie.
Well, I would be concerned at 18 points behind. The Americans have played some outstanding football. We spoke about the core skills. That's something that's really improved. And watching John Cartwright work with these guys over the last 3 days, he's certainly improved their skill level and given them a better understanding and knowledge of the game.
Brian Coleman playing it 25 yards out from the Australian line as Vasilakopoulos comes to his right-hand side. They work it forward there through Ed Woodbridge, another replacement for the Tomahawks in their forward pack. Costin taken to the line, showing it a good ball as well, but it wasn't handled there by Ben Kelly, and he coughs it up. The Australians will have it Through a scrum feed just 15 yards out from their line as we go downstairs once again to Rob Balachandra.
Yeah, guys, it looks like there's a lot of activity a little bit on the Australian bench here. It kind of looked like they're at a funeral for a while, but the coach is moving around players. Sean Berrigan looks like he's going off back on the field, as is Andrew Ryan. This is not a very happy Australian bench, but we'll see what happens. A lot of time left in this game. Thanks.
That is for sure and certain as Rooney plays it. Bowen from dummy half. Comes back. There's Wayne Bennett still watching on. Aghast at the moment. Sivanasiva plays it back to Brent Tate. Here is Andrew Ryan, the Bulldogs captain-elect for 2005 in the Australian NRL, as Timmins runs a long way, showing it a number of times. Cuts back to the open as Hill throws a cutout ball for Tate. He had Singh outside him, runs down the middle of the park, past the referee. He used him as a shepherd, but the pass for Matt Bowen was intercepted, and the Americans come up with it once again.
Well, again, Warren, we speak about patience. The Australians just trying to force it. There's plenty of space out there. Well, they're finding the numbers on the edge and then going back through the middle, but Tate, you can just see there, trying to force the pass, trying to find the quicker man, as a good hit from Hindmarsh.
Well, J.C. Roker ran into an absolute brick wall, and he's still on the artificial turf here behind the play. And now Scott Hill loses it. It comes away to Matt Peterson, and it's play on, says the referee, as the Tomahawks take it up towards the halfway line. The completion rate at the moment for the Australians is awful, as Danny Bull works it 5 metres into Kangaroos territory. Vasilakopoulos goes to his right-hand side, where Brandon Costin is stopped there by Hill and also Hindmarsh. The Aussies make another change to their bench. An awful lot here in this second quarter. Sean Timmins replaced as Tony Carroll comes on the field for the Aussies. A kick in behind the line, finds touch, and the Americans work it down the park. The Aussies will have it from a scrum, 10 out from their own line once again.
And that's a smart bit of play there by Matty Peterson. The game was starting to develop into a real quick contest, and they were starting to struggle, the United States, but he found touch. It's given their team time to walk to a scrum, get their breath back, and now get set to defend once again.
Half an hour gone in Philadelphia, and the Tomahawks lead the Australians 18 points to 0. If they were being nice to them and giving them a head start, perhaps the friendship of the Liberty Bell Cup was extended just a little bit too far here in this opening half. Bowen from dummy half comes back to Sivanasiva. He puts a pivot on himself. Stop there, about 15 short of the halfway line, as O'Mealy takes it forward. A ball out the back, not handled once again by Bowen. They are certainly throwing it around. Picked up there by Brandon Costin for the US team, and he will play it a couple of metres on his own side of halfway. They work it back to the left, where Ian Blake runs at Darren Lockyer. Kicked his mark there, the Brisbane Bronco lower grader, if you like, running at his captain. Here's Danny Bull, away from dummy half. Comes to Scott Hill, who wraps him up upstairs. Some strong tackling downstairs from Tony Carroll. Perhaps Danny Bull isn't too familiar with Tony Carroll, but a bad man to run at.
Well, he's one of the best defensive players in the NRL in Australia, Tony Carroll. Got a good technique. He hits hard, he hits low.
They put a high kick in again, and the Australians have had a tough time of it so far. Perhaps the Americans have done their homework, and John Cartwright said Matt Bowen can have his moments under the high ball. Let's test him out.
But on that occasion, Warren, the three-quarter line from the Australians, they shepherded really well. They kept the Americans away from the football to give him a good catch out at Bowen.
Tate gave it back to Lockyer, who linked up once again here with Cooper. What a step he put on Ben Kelly. He left him clutching at Fineri, still going Cooper. He takes it down the sideline, 35 away from the American line, as the Australians look for their first points of the night inside the final 10 minutes of this first half. Lovely ball from Lockyer. It came back for Sean Berrigan. He stops. Lockyer comes to Hill. Back to Lockyer once again. He's got plenty of options. That wasn't the one he was looking for, though. He fired it over the top. Cooper had a play at it, but the pass was too long, and perhaps the narrow field once again catching out the Aussies.
Yeah, how much is the narrow field coming to play here? You saw on a couple of the rushes earlier where if it's the regular size field, it looks like Australia scores.
Well, Australia like to play with plenty of width, and their wingers hold the touchline very well. They've got some of the best passes in the competition. They've got some of the best exponents of the kick. So it will come into play. But having said that, the scramble defence of the Americans has been first class.
And if the field is a problem for the Aussies as far as the width of it, it certainly isn't for the Tomahawks at the moment. They make a rare mistake here. Danny Bull jumped into dummy half and tried to work it away quickly. They can't afford to put themselves under pressure at this end of the park. Brazier got up to play it quickly. Bull was off before acceptances. And the Kangaroos have it. 20 out from the Tomahawks line. Here's Hill in a more familiar role, working the scrum on that occasion. Bowen put a little two-step on and almost worked his way through the line. He'll play it. 5 metres out, Ryan, a pass, comes away from Hill to O'Mealy. He loses a dough in the tackle, picked up by the Tomahawks fullback, Eric Hollingsworth, and they've hung on again.
It was a good shot put on Mark O'Mealy. He turned the ball over, but they got him just under the ribs. There was good contact with the football, and touching the football and playing with it before the game, it was quite slippery, and the Australians are certainly struggling to come to grips with it.
And with this surface, the ball will collect moisture. This surface will gather some moisture, which will make, especially on a night like this, cold night, and make the ball more slippery.
Matt Astle now with some tape around the head, plays it for Vasilakopoulos as the Americans get a clearing kick away through Brandon Costin, looking for plenty of metres as well. Not a bad one. He was after a 40-20, and Matt Singh had his work cut out to keep it in the field of play. Good work in the end by the winger as he brings it back outside the 20. He links up with Luke Rooney. He runs to the defence and is stopped there by Shane Maines as he plays it. Let's go downstairs once again to Rob Balachandran, who's with the American captain, Jeff Preston.
Jeff, tell me what you're feeling right now. This is the best the Americans have ever played.
He's not feeling too good, I can tell you, Rob, as Matt Bowen runs a long way, and the Australians have their first try of the night. It took them 35 minutes to get to it, but the Americans, perhaps tiring towards half-time, opened up down the middle of the park, and once Bowen had a sniff, he came to Eric Hollingsworth, who had no chance of stopping him. He stepped past him and grabbed their first 4-pointer.
Yeah, it was great work from the Australians. They convert so well, the Australians, from when they've been defending. When they get the ball straight away from to offensively, they use the football. They number up well. They know where the ball has to be shifted to. They go to the space. And on this occasion, it was their front rower, Petro Sivanasiva, offloading to Matty Bowen, who's looked dangerous on his feet, can step off both feet. Tremendous player. Got his opportunity in rep football only in the last couple of years, but he's certainly making it every post a winner as Lockyer converts to bring the Australians closer to the USA.
18-6 it is now to the Americans as we go back downstairs once again. Rob, we cut you off, but I'm sure Jeff Preston wasn't too happy to see Matt Bowen running away to grab a try.
No, absolutely not. Jeff, you and I have played together for years, and certainly we've not been up on many teams 18-6, let alone Australia. What are you going to tell the guys and keeping their emotions in check so you can continue this lead?
We're just doing what Coach Cartwright's been telling us. You know, we're making our tackles, sacking them, piling on top, making our tackles, making good runs, just keeping the game simple. Sometimes in the past, used to oversimplify, do too many, try to do too many things. We're just keeping things simple, and it's working right now. So, you know, the game's not over yet. Okay, this is a world champion side, so we got to work cut out for us.
Thank you,
Jeff Preston, the long-serving American captain there with Rob Balachandran, as the kicking tee comes back out for Brandon Costin, who I'm sure for a moment there thought he had a 40-20 coming up his way. Only to see Matt Singh do well up against the sideline. He linked up with Rooney. In the blinking of an eye, Matt Bowen is running away to the other end of the field. Sivanasiva plays it. Berrigan works it from dummy half. He comes to the right-hand side to give it to Carroll. He'll play it just 20 metres short of his own halfway line as Berrigan throws a ball which was never going to be grabbed there by Scott Hill. It put him under all sorts of pressure, and again the Aussies trying to show what they can do very quickly in their own half, give it back to the Tomahawks, who have a chance to once again open up the scoreline.
Well, if you're moving the football, you've got to execute well, and on that occasion the pass was nowhere up around the chest. It was down around the ankles. These type of conditions always going to be very difficult. But we say in our game, after you score points, the next set of 6, you must get to your kick. You must transfer the football down the other end of the park. And the Australians on this occasion have turned it over too cheaply, and all of a sudden they're under pressure once again.
And you're right before halftime and right before the second quarter ends, and that's where a momentum, whether it's American football or rugby especially, you need to continue with that momentum.
Spot on.
Here they are again, just 10 out from the line. Vasilakopoulos goes to the right-hand side. Constant showing it a couple of times. Stopped there by Berrigan and also Cooper. They are spread to the left. They take it to the line, though, looking for perhaps a play after this with Ian Blake taking it within a couple of metres. What a great pass from Vasilakopoulos to Matt Peterson. He looked up and saw a wall of green jumpers in front of him. He'll play it on the last tackle. 10 out from the Aussie line. Constant grubbering in behind them. Nobody at home. He picked it up. And from Huddersfield to Philadelphia, Brandon Costin scores the 4th try of the game for the Americans.
Well, we're talking about momentum swings. The Australians had all the ascendancy, executed poorly, turned the ball over, and on 5th tackle, Brandon Costin from Huddersfield in England has grabbed a kick through and scored the 4th try of the night for the American Tomahawks underneath the sticks. There was a gap in behind to play the ball. It just allowed him to just slice the football through. Didn't come off an Australian leg. Another but pick up. I was going to say room service bounce. There was no room service bounce there, baby. That was skill.
And once again, it was so important because the Americans were on their heels of momentum shifting easily against the muddy Aussies, and to come back and score is huge right now.
Nate Smith is back out there. He converted from right in front, and with just on 40 seconds left in this first half, it is 24-6 to the USA Tomahawks. They call him Seabiscuit. They saw his speed earlier this year, and they decided to name him after the famous American racehorse who was the subject of a hit movie in recent times. And now another kick for the sideline. We'll find it. Lockyer drilled it once again, only about 20 yards or so, and it bounced just inside the sideline. So the Aussies will finish this first half on the attack. They'll have just this one play after the scrum sets, but they would be desperate to get it back to 24-12 here as we go to half-time at Franklin Field. Here's Lockyer. What will he put on? He gives it to Tate, who puts it down. That has been the theme of the first half for the Australians. Picked up here by Brandon Costin, and that will do as you would think for action in this first half. There's the siren now. Smith goes away from dummy half. Hill grabs him and dumps him to the turf, and they will get a rousing ovation, these Tomahawks players, as they leave the field here tonight. What a half of football from them. If the Australians have taken it a little bit easy on them, that surely will change in the second half here. The USA lead Australia 24-6 in the Liberty Bell Cup. We will take a break and come back to look at all those first half highlights just in a moment. Make sure you stay with us as we bring you this historic game from Franklin Field here in Philadelphia. Talking to the American players while they were training over the last couple of days, they in some ways were very excited about seeing Anthony Minicello in action. They watch him in action here on Fox Sports World with coverage from the NRL coming to the US, and they've seen him over the last couple of years just carve teams apart at times for the Sydney Roosters. With him on the field now, perhaps those thoughts of looking forward to seeing him in action might have changed as we look at Brandon Costin, who scored the 4th try of the game for the Americans. Let's go back downstairs to Rob before the kickoff.
I'm standing with Australian coach Wayne Bennett. Wayne, you're a champion for bringing the boys down here, and we appreciate that. You've come off a rough tour, and the guys are tired. Tell me what you talk to the guys about when you're in the locker room.
Just picking up their intensity and getting their mind on the job. They're way off the mark at the moment, and obviously we're looking for a pretty easy game, but they're just trying to get it too easy at the moment, so just got to pick their intensity up and they'll be fine.
Well, you are in the city of brotherly love, but notwithstanding, we always know that the Australians will never, ever, you can turn your back on them, so we're looking for an exciting half from your team. Good luck, Coach.
Thanks.
Wayne Bennett there, coach of the Australian Kangaroos. with Rob Balachandran. Will be the Australians defending the right-hand side of your screens in this second half. 2 20-minute quarters to come up. And Brandon Costin, who scored that spectacular try as we approached half-time to give it this 24 points to 6 scoreline, gets us back underway. And it's Petro Sivanasiva who brings it back out for the Kangaroos. We will know very quickly here in these first couple of sets of 6 what effect the words of Wayne Bennett have had on this side as Willie Mason carts it forward. Takes it up to within 15 metres of the halfway line. Here's Andrew Ryan cutting back to the middle of the field. We trust you're enjoying the action back home on Fox Sports in Australia. Might be rather warm in the hot conditions over there. Not so cold here tonight in Philadelphia. And in fact, the fans have been warmed by what they've seen so far in this Liberty Bell Cup. Lockyer puts it high in the air. Eric Hollingsworth, the American fullback, makes a good take under some pressure there from Brent Tate and Matt Singh.
That's a lovely take from Hollingsworth. It was a spiral kick. He had to put himself in a position to get to the football. He went, he made a play, come down with it. There you can see Hollingsworth, very difficult to take those spiral bombs from Darren Lockyer. He did it with ease.
We have seen plenty of fullbacks in the NRL struggle with the very same kick. Good take by the fullback here tonight. It's Jeff Preston, the captain of this Tomahawk side, retiring from the international team after this game tonight and on track to pull off an incredible win at the moment. The kick from Costin is a deep one. You would figure in the cold air here tonight in Philadelphia, the ball wouldn't travel too far, but the football in some of the kicks has gone prodigious distances.
He's got a big boot on him, Brendan Costin. That travelled probably 50 on the fly. Matty Singh out of dummy half now. In that first set of 6, you saw the Australians. They looked to go through the middle of the park before they used their skill to the edges.
Here's Luke Rooney. Looking it back up towards the halfway line. He plays it to Bowen. Mason tries to bump off from the tackle there once again. He almost ran over the top there of Ben Kelly, playing in the centres, wearing the headgear for the Americans as Lockyer takes it to the line. Good defence there by Jeff Preston, pushing up on the outside. He cut off the options for Lockyer, who had to take the tackle. And the Australian captain gets up hobbling at the moment. We will keep our eye on him as Berrigan gets the kick away. He picks out Eric Hollingsworth on the bounce, and the fullback brings it back towards the 20, where he stopped there by Tony Carroll.
And this is an important part of the game from a momentum standpoint. When you look at the Americans, just to survive the opening avalanche, because you had to expect after halftime the Aussie team to come out ripping and roaring.
Exactly right, and they've started to that, but they haven't, you know, thrown all their eggs into the one basket either, the Australians. To pick up their intensity, I think they're going to get used to the contact again and just the roll and the pace of the game, getting their kick chase in order. Lovely ball though there by the Americans.
Peterson threw a, as you said, terrific pass to Danny Bull, one of the try scorers for the US team, although now he also, like Lockyer before him on the previous set of 6, gets up looking a little bit the worse for wear. Minicello, a juggle and a bobble. It's almost his trademark now.
He never looks comfortable taking a high ball, Anthony Minicello, but you very rarely see him drop one.
Here's Rooney down the middle of the park. He almost split them open. Ian Blake was there to make the tackle on him, but only just as Cooper scampers away also from dummy half. And just like that, the Australians have it back in Tomahawks territory. Alarm bells now. Bowen has it. It comes to Andrew Ryan. Bowen was looking to link up with him down this left-hand side of the field. He gets it back from dummy half. The Americans perhaps up inside the 10, lucky not to be penalised. Here's Minicello stepping in behind them. It comes to Singh. He tries to find some space and almost did so. There wasn't much there to start with, but he almost created it on his own. He plays it back to Tate. It comes to Lockyer. Players in motion. Mason to Bowen, who steps past the tackle and gets to the line. Rick D'Ortoni came up, tried to shut him down, but Matt Bowen scores his second try of the night. And the Aussies make it 24-10.
Yeah, good skill there by the Aussies. Willie Mason went for a long ball in the first half that was intercepted by Nate Smith. And all of a sudden, running out wide, lovely little short ball. You can see there, Costin coming up out of the defensive line, didn't make a tackle. You put yourself under a lot of pressure. If you come out of the defensive line on a ball player, you've got to stop it. He can't transfer the pass. And on this occasion, he comes through, misses the tackle. Willie Mason, an offload to the exciting Matty Bowen to cross for the second try of the night.
Lovely evasive work by Bowen. Getting across there, Ben Kelly couldn't get to him in time. A double now for Matt Bowen as Lockyer from the sideline looks to convert. The kick is on its way. If there was a black dot, it would have gone right over the top of it. And of course, the kickers here tonight, Laurie, have to factor in that the goalposts are actually level with the dead ball line.
Yeah, it's a bit of a weird experience for them, Warren, but some people in our game believe that that may be where the goalpost should be situated.
Some people. I remember one fellow writing an article about it in Big League earlier this year, and I think his name was Daly.
For discussion, Warren, for discussion.
We'll see what the administration of the NRL make of it. You might want to take it up perhaps with Graham Annesley, the Chief Operating Officer, who is here in Philadelphia. Nervous man before the game, waiting to see how this one would pan out. I'm sure he's smiling at the moment because it has been quite a spectacle. And the first ever Liberty Bell Cup as 7-0 that brings it back from the kickoff. The Americans under pressure suddenly. You get the feeling that the Aussies have certainly got a little bit more serious to start this second half. Here's Mason passing it at the line. He gives it to Berrigan, who's taking some stopping. He offloads to Andrew Ryan. Straddles the fallen player. Bowen to Lockyer. Then to Carroll. He lost the handle on it. He knocked it on despite facing his own line. And quick hands from the Aussies cough it up. And the Americans will have it. 35 out from the Kangaroos line.
They'd be disappointed with that, the Australians. Just they executed again poorly after points. They'd made some inroads. And Tony Carroll just getting a pass that went behind him. Couldn't catch it. He knocks the ball forward. Turned the ball over 40 metres out from the Australian try line.
Peterson from the back of the scrum takes it to Lockyer, and they stop him just inside the 40. Danny Bull, one of the try scorers for the Tomahawks, met there by Kennedy and also 7-0. Marcus Vasilakopoulos done a very good job tonight from dummy half. He's had plenty of willing runners at the same time. Here's Will Brazier playing it now. 25 out from the Australian line. Peterson took it to the defence and then put an awkward looking kick over the top. Perhaps with an ad-lib play. Didn't as though there was too many chases coming through, knowing it was on, and Minicello brings it back, and then he gets up, reaching towards an ankle as well. A couple of nervous moments for, of course, the high-priced Australian team, their first ever game on artificial turf. We had an incident-free first half. A couple of players reaching for ankles, and I suppose that could happen on any surface. Here's Kennedy. Lovely ball to Mason. Good tackle, though. Vasilakopoulos coming across in cover. Cut him down. Here's Bowen from dummy half. He caught the marker out. It comes to Cooper. He runs at Brandon Costin. And he stopped just outside the Tomahawks 30. Nate Smith came in very late.
Do you reckon they haven't worked on that at training, Warren, under John Cartwright?
John Cartwright obviously had said we have to play the ball down at every opportunity. And Nate Smith came in, well, conservatively half an hour after the player was tackled.
It was 15 minutes.
Here he is, though, cleaning up in the in-goal area. He showed some good speed to get there and get to the ball before the Aussies could, but he was driven back into the in-goal area by Tony Carroll. And the Americans will drop it out with a 12-point lead. We are almost midway through this third quarter.
And this is what the Australians have made famous in the international games. The ability to get the repeat set of 6 and put the opposition under pressure. It's always difficult to defend the Australians for 6 tackles, but when you get a repeat set of 6, very rarely do teams hold them out.
7-0 playing it to Bowen, who's spending a good deal of this third quarter at dummy half now. He gets across the park again as the Australians will play it there through Ryan. Here's Kennedy as they stack the short side, but it's hard to work the numbers down the short side on this compressed American football field. Bowen waits at dummy half. It comes to Berrigan, getting to first receiver. Lockyer giving it to Carroll. They were sweating on him. The gap closed. Matt Peterson made a good tackle, and it's Hollingsworth who comes away with it.
And I know that's a play that the Americans worked on defending all week. Lockyer drifting the ball, hitting the short runner. They know that Tony Carroll likes to do that, and they've been playing a direct defensive line, going to the man.
Vasilakopoulos running 10 metres or perhaps more before he stopped. 15 on his own side of halfway. Peterson gets the dummy half. Ian Blake met there in a strong tackle as well. Tony Carroll has pulled off some good hits here tonight. They will kick. Brandon Costin does the honours. No real pressure from the Australian defensive line once again on the kicker as Minicello scampers back to play a 10 on his own side of halfway. They would like to score here because they trail by 2 converted tries. Kennedy takes it across the halfway line. Well, he hurdled a couple of players. Ben Kelly and Matt Astle went low. He went over the top. Lockyer throws the ball. Touched by Jeff Preston. 6 more tackles for the Aussies. Luke Rooney plays at it. Knocked backward, said the referee, until he got a word from his touch judge. Another Australian here. One of the officials, Darren Gosher, running the line tonight, giving the word to Rob Irwin. He said there was a touch there. And then a little touch at the death by Luke Rooney. Might have been a tough call against him.
Well, they've switched the call now. The touch judge has had a word to the referee, and it was a correct call. Jeff Preston knocked the ball down. Berrigan's feeding the scrum.
Here's Minicello. He coughs it up on the first play. And the Tomahawks have possession. It has been a dodgy night for handling from the Aussies.
Turnovers have just killed the Aussie team all night long.
It has, and no matter what football side you're playing, you can't win or you can't score without the football.
That's exactly right.
It's the basic rule that you learn when you play these ball sports.
Don't turn the ball over.
Here's Ian Blake playing it, 26 out from the Aussies line. Tumaloa giving it away to Will Brazier, and then it came back to J.C. Roker. You're into a strong tackle from Andrew Ryan. Great chance again for the Americans as Costin grubbers in behind them. It worked once. They got to the football first then, coming through very quickly. Chris Waters got a hand on it. The Australian from Guildford in Sydney, playing his second match for the Tomahawks, born here in the US in Iowa, almost won the race to the ball there, but the Australians will get it back from the scrum feed here.
Well, this is a big set of 6 coming up for the Australians. Good position to have a scrum and receive the ball. In the middle of the park, you can attack both ways.
The possession will come to the Tomahawks. It did look as though it was a knock-on by the Americans, but Peterson with the feed here picks it up at the scrum base, and then an early knock-on from Costin on the first play once again, and they give it straight back to the Aussies.
Well, that was a let-off. Mason done particularly well to break from the scrum. He's playing front row. He comes across here. Even though they did drop the football, if he had caught that back there might have been a space if he wasn't alert.
Don't know if Willie Mason knows Rick Dortoni, but he's followed him high a couple of times there on loose balls. So Rick will keep an eye out for Willie on future pickups as Mason gives it to Sivanasiva. A little bit more intense in that particular hit up from the front rower. He plays it quickly to Bowen. Here they come again. Mason, but he's met there by 3 tacklers. They got up off the line as quickly as they could and made an effective tackle on him. Lockyer to the line. Inside ball. A lovely one to Minicello. He's got Berrigan with him, and Peterson diving can't stop him. Sean Berrigan gets Australia's 3rd try of the game, and the scoreline suddenly here in Philadelphia is closing quickly.
You love how the Aussies play. They've got great skill. They can throw long passes. They throw an interchange of short passing. And it's also the ability to take advantage of any tired defenders through the middle of the ruck. And on this occasion, Lockyer, inside ball to Minicello. Minicello onto Berrigan in support. Scores near the post to get the Aussies back into the contest. They just isolate tired defenders, the Australians. And they put people on the tired defenders that have got good footwork and plenty of speed.
Lockyer from right in front adds the extra 2. And it's only 6 points the difference. The Tomahawks lead the Kangaroos 24 points to 18, 4 tries to 3 at the moment. We have just on 6 minutes left in this 3rd quarter. We'll see if the Australians try and rattle up a score in the remaining minutes of this quarter. But you could see it, the set of 6 started with a big hit up from Sivanasiva, and suddenly it was quite obvious he'd got very serious in a hurry.
Well, he's very good, Sivanasiva. And I think the Aussies, come with a relaxed attitude, but they realise they're in a contest. The Americans have played some terrific football.
The American team right now, it's really tiring. They're starting to get worn down a little bit right now. And just kind of like looking up, and they're just overtaken by that great skill by the Aussies.
Here's Stephen Asiva again, beating the first line of defence to be tackled by Rick D'Ortoni as Brent Tate works it away from dummy half. While he does so, let's go back down to the sideline. Rob Balachandran is with Willie Mason.
I'm with Willie Mason right now. Willie, halftime wasn't too happy. You're 24-18. Tell me what you're feeling right now.
You know, it's not too bad now. You know, these sort of games, it's hard to get up for. But you know, USA come out firing, and we didn't. So that's how. You know, that's the sort of game rugby league is. You know, if you don't turn up, any side can do you. So, you know, the boys sort of got a bit of a rocket up their ass, so to speak, from the coach, and sort of had to come out here and play. So,
well, Willie, these guys, all the American teams, you're one of their favorites, so it's an honor for them to play against you. But
yeah, I know, it's good to see. You know, the Americans are liking rugby league. So, you know, it's number one sport in Australia. So, you know, hopefully, if we can play over here a couple of times a year, it'd be great.
Thanks, Willie.
No worries, man.
Willie Mason with Rob Balachandran as the Americans only just hung on, and again J.C. Roker, who runs like he's been fired out of a cannon. He gets the head down low and charges at them. Once again, some big contact, but he bounced back to his feet.
He bounces back. A couple of times he's bounced back to his feet facing the wrong way, Warren. I'm a little bit concerned about him.
He's going the wrong way.
Now he's found his bearings. He's heading upfield.
Here's Vasilakopoulos heading upfield also to within 10 yards of this halfway line. Comes to Costin, whose kicking game has been very good tonight. Chased there by a former teammate in Ben Kennedy. Minicello picks it up in the corner, runs back midfield to look to link up with Luke Rooney. But the kick chase from the Americans was pretty good. They came up in a line down the middle of the park.
Well, we speak about core skills in the game, but there's also core things that you have to do. And the kick chase is part of that, because a lot of the time that's where you're receiving your football, and a lot of the time that's where you're defending from. So you have to make that a priority, and the Americans have done that this week. One thing I'd like to ask Anthony, in the NRL game, we say there's room for all shapes and sizes of players, and Matty Bowen's an exceptional player. How would he go if he attempted an NFL-style, contract? Would they be interested in that type of player, the smaller player?
He's very fast, and we have a position called cornerback where you're back in the backfield and trying to defend against the pass, or he could be a punt returner, maybe a quick running back. He can run with the football. He's got good moves. He looks like a tough player with quick feet. Think he could do that?
Well, Rick D'Ortoni was looking for quick feet there as he attempted to take this high kick. He put it down. Eric Hollingsworth, the fullback for the Americans, has shown some sure hands tonight, but D'Ortoni on that occasion putting it down, and the Kangaroos will have it just outside the Tomahawks 10. They could level the scorelines here with a try and a conversion. They work it from dummy half. Minicello, a lovely play, a simple play, but so effectively worked by the Australians. It's Cooper who scores the try for them. And in a few moments' time, it's taken a long time, but the Aussies will be back here where they started the game on level terms.
Well, it was some good decoy plays. They really drew in the American defence, and the Australians, they executed that play fantastic. It was off the back of a scrum. Timmins onto Minicello. You just look at Cooper hitting the hole. And he's just a really exciting player. Very good player, Matty Cooper. A lot of people thought that he would be the #1 centre in Australia on the tour to England. He's found himself playing second fiddle to Willie Tonga and Sean Berrigan. He's an exciting player, and that's a trademark. Hitting a hole as Darren Lockyer converts to even the game up.
It is 24, playing 24, and you would have got long odds before the game about seeing that scoreline here with almost 3/4 gone. The Tomahawks, with an early charge, ranked up 24 points in the first half to lead by 18. But since then, we've seen 3 unanswered tries by the Australians. Matt Bowen grabbed his second. Sean Berrigan also grabbed one. And, of course, we saw Matt Cooper get his first of the night just a few moments ago. Let's go back downstairs. Rob Balachandran is standing by with one of the American try scorers, Danny Ball. We will come back to Rob in a moment as Stephen Asiva brings the ball out a long way from the kickoff. His charges have the Americans worried at the moment. 40 metres on the return. by Sivanasiva. It comes to Lockyer. He chips over the top in the final minute of the first half. And some lovely covering work from the Americans. They have it 5 metres on their own side of halfway. And it was Rick Dortoni who came up with it.
He's come up with some nice plays tonight, Dortoni. That one there, he's been shifted to the fullback position. He was alert. He was playing short in behind the defensive line. He wasn't standing back, hoping that the Australians would kick long late in the tackle count.
There he is in behind the play, just catching his breath. The siren sounds to end the third quarter, and the Tomahawks take it forward. Stop there was Ed Woodbridge. The 3 tries and 18 points in the third quarter to the Kangaroos. Have the scoreline at 24 each. We have 20 minutes remaining here at Franklin Field in Philadelphia as we go back downstairs to Rob Ballachandra.
I'm sitting with Danny Bull. Danny, congratulations first off on having your little baby Lindsay, and also congratulations on having a 24-24 tie with Australia. Tell me how you're feeling, man.
Quite frankly, Robert, it's pretty, we can't believe it really. We had a great performance to start with, 24 points against the world champions. We're going into the last 20 minutes, tied them up, unbelievable.
What'd you think about your score? Tell me a little bit about it if you can remember.
I was a little bit lucky, really fortuitous. The ball was coming out, they didn't clear it up well. I just charged on, the ball bounced up nicely, I picked it up and dived over. Really just a dream come true.
What are the boys feeling right now? I mean, I've been out there, and believe me, I'm itching to get back out there, but actually I like it on the sidelines. I don't feel I have to worry about the recovery, but tell me what you're feeling with the guys out there.
The boys are very excited. We're being competitive. We're putting a good performance together, a set to 6. We're really playing well as a team, the best we've ever played. So basically our performance level, what we wanted to do in this game was really perform, show the rest of the world that we can play rugby league in America, and I think that's what we're doing. We're making a statement.
In the past we've used to get in games like this, and we would fall away from the axiom, keep it simple. You guys have kept a very simple pattern, and you've kept possession of the ball a lot more than Australia has, and that's why I think we're in the situation that you're in. What do you think you need to do in this last quarter just to keep things going?
Last quarter, we've got to try and keep it tight. We know the Australians are, quality side. They're going to come at us very, very hard. They don't want to lose this game, so they're going to come out full blown. We're going to keep the same game plan, keep it simple, do the best we can.
Good luck to you, man. Thanks
Robert. Thank you.
Well, the Brit, educated at Aberdeen University in Scotland, using some smarts to help the US tie the Australians at three-quarter time. It's 24 each. We'll be back with the last quarter in just a moment in Philadelphia. Fox Sports World here in the US and Fox Sports Australia back home. You are watching the Liberty Bell Cup, this historic first ever rugby league game between the Australians and the Americans in Philadelphia. And once again, to start the last quarter, the Australians have driven it low and hard to the sideline, and Lockyer will get possession back for the Kangaroos, who levelled the scorelines just before three-quarter time to make it 24 each. When Matt Cooper scored, they can pick up from where they left off. Yeah, they worked the kickoffs very nicely on this narrow field, the Australians, and again they've gone back to the similar play that they scored on through Matt Cooper. Second man played to Minichillo, with Preston breaking quick from the scrum. Timmins from dummy half, dumps it out the back to Bowen. Kamali is back out there after spending the third quarter on the bench. He turns it back on the inside for Tate. He's just inside the Americans' 20. Bowen still working things from dummy half, comes to Hindmarsh. Willie Mason is also back out there. He was screaming for the football on Hindmarsh's outside. Sivanasiva, he was the destroyer for the Kangaroos in that third quarter. Bowen shows it one way, comes back to the right. Timmins is stopped there, just 10 yards away from the Tomahawks line. And the Aussies hit the lead for the first time. Kamali gives it to Kennedy. He hasn't seen too much action through the Tri-Nation Series. He'll play it back to Bowen. Kamali, cut-out ball. It comes to Jeff Preston, the American captain, tried to intercept it. And I'm sure as it came to his hands, he had visions of running 90 metres and scoring. Well, we would have saw how fast Jeff Preston was. A great opportunity to take the football and run 90 yards. But the Australians, once again, looking to play second-man plays, the block plays. They've had a lot of success with them tonight.
And that's the type of play that they need. Australia knocking on the door. A play like that could turn around, get it back in the game, because momentum is totally with the Aussies right now.
Oh, Mason from the scrum was just awesome. He barreled players out of the way, and he scores as the rain starts to fall here in Philadelphia. The Aussies have the lead for the first time. It's 28 points to 24, and Bulldogs fans back home have their hearts in their mouths as they see Willie Mason limp away after scoring that try.
Well, it's a good try by Willie Mason, just picking it up from the lock forward position, showing brute strength. He's a big man, forces his way over, and the Australians hit the front for the first time in the game. You can see the Americans trying to push the football out of his hands, hold him up over the line, and then he just slams it down.
It looked like his ankle got caught underneath and he rolled over the ankle. Remember, that's a different surface that you and I were talking about during the break.
Yep. And as Warren mentioned, Bulldog supporters, Bulldog coaching staff and medical staff, although the medical staff with their Dr. Hugh Hazard is the Australian doctor.
Lockyer with a conversion attempt, kicks the goal to make it 30 points to 24 to the Kangaroos. And Willie Mason knew straight away he was in trouble. He will come back to the bench, and I would dare say his time on the field here in America is done. Looks to be in some pain as he made his way back to the bench. And the surface really hasn't been a factor here tonight, or so it seems from our position. Looking down on the field, it will be very interesting to get the opinions of the Australians on it after the game.
Yeah, I was just about to say that, Warren. It will be interesting. It's something that's been, well, it's different for them. They're used to playing on grass. It looks a fast, open pitch.
It's very fast surface, and you watch, it's going to get even slicker now that the rain is falling, and that'll be something else that'll be different, because that surface gets very slippery, and we have to watch out for that.
Here's Hindmarsh bringing it back from the kickoff. Interesting to see the Americans haven't adopted the Australian tactics of trying to drive it low and hard towards the sideline. They have persisted with driving it deep into the in-goal area.
Well, I think that's all about field position, because if the kickoff doesn't, well, it's not successful for them, all of a sudden they're turning the ball over too cheaply with the Australians on the attack straight away.
Kennedy runs at Vasilakopoulos, and they stop him in the middle of the field here. The big P for the University of Pennsylvania as Sean Timmins runs it towards the 40-yard line of this American football surface. Kamali gives it to Lockyer, and once again Eric Hollingsworth, the fullback, has some work to do. A lucky bounce though, or a good bounce for him. Well played as it turned out. He let it hit the turf, and it bounced up nicely for him before he was tackled pretty heavily by Matt Singh, and he got up clutching the back of the head.
Well, it's good work by Hollingsworth. He's attacked the football. He hasn't been scared to let it bounce. He's attacked that. When he could get it on the full, he has got there. But the Australians have given away a penalty through a high tackle. And Costin now trying to find touch. Good kick by Costin, up to the halfway. Probably went over the mark by about 5 metres where he got the penalty from, but who's looking?
Well, here's Jeff Preston playing it for the Americans, 6 yards into Australian territory. And they work it forward through Danny Ball, the Brit, one of the try scorers for the Tomahawks in the first half. Will Brazier, 21-year-old, who plays, of course, in the local American NRL, has been a willing worker out there tonight, and his time on the field comes to Costin. Grubbering early in the tackle count. The ball comes loose. Well, Ben Kelly looked to be a long way offside, and the referee Rob Irwin rules it that way as well.
It was funny. Minicello knew he was offside and then was looking around hoping that the penalty was going to come a lot quicker before he was interfered with. But the Aussies again quick to restart. Bowen finds Andrew Ryan.
You look at the rains are really coming down now. It's a cold, biting rain too out there. That's a nasty rain. The Aussies aren't used to that cold, biting rain.
They've had a knock-on call here go against them, so the Tomahawks will get possession here as we go back downstairs to Rob Balachandran, who has a report on the condition of Willie Mason.
Willie, it looks like he's doing okay, but he's got his right mid-foot ankle area a little injured. They said a metatarsal. They think it's just a sprain, maybe a second degree. They don't think it's serious enough, at least right now, to take him anywhere. He's on the bench, but they'll probably have him in for x-rays a little later. Thanks.
Well, very glum looking Willie Mason on the bench as we have a kick from the scrum win by the Tomahawks. Getting back there in a hurry was Matt Bowen. Good chase by the Americans. Nate Smith got down the field pretty quickly, as did Eric Hollingsworth, and then Rick D'Ortoni came in to finish him off.
The enthusiasm levels of the Americans have been first class tonight. They have shown the Aussies all about enthusiasm, and it's great to see. They've been given an opportunity and they're grabbing it with both hands. It means a lot to them.
Well, Willie was talking earlier about how it wasn't sure for the Australians to come after last weekend, come all the way over here and play. And Willie said it was tough to get up for the game.
Well, they certainly were flat, for want of a better term, to start the game. But here they are now with 7 to Seaver playing it 5 yards on his own side of halfway as Kamali puts it in the air. Vasilakopoulos was coming through to try and attempt the charge down, and then Eric Hollingsworth does a little Anthony Minicello himself. It was an awkward take, but a good one.
He's been in the right positions, hasn't he? He's been impressive, the fullback Hollingsworth.
He has the Marine haircut. He is a former Marine, as is the American captain, Jeff Preston. And he has stood up under the pressure of the high ball here tonight.
And it's difficult, especially with the slippery ball, the rain starting to come down now. It was a big hit.
Tony Carroll. Wow. What a tackle there on Ben Kelly.
Oh, my.
The American football fans in the crowd here. I have one of them beside me, and Anthony Gagano enjoyed that one.
Oh, I loved it. Look at that. He drove his body right into the ground. That's what the fans over here love.
Here's Matt Peterson looking the clearing kick in. Played off the legs there by Anthony Minicello. He picks it up eventually. And again, the chase isn't a bad one by the Americans. Matt Peterson chasing through on his own kick. Makes the tackle as Minicello plays it just outside the Australians' 20. Rooney running across the line. Coming out of the line very quickly once again was the head-geared missile, J.C. Roker, who likes to aim up on both sides of the ball. Lovely pass from Kennedy to Ryan. Back on the inside to Matty Bowen. He grabs a hat-trick in Philadelphia and extends the lead for the Kangaroos. That'll make it 34 points to 24, and they look safe as the rain continues to fall here at Franklin Field.
Yeah, great work, Matty Bowen. He's been waiting for his opportunity to play for Australia. Made his test debut against the French a couple of weeks ago. And Ben Kennedy, the forward, back rower onto Andrew Ryan, another back rower. And then Matt Bowen in support like a good fullback. Very quick, scoring next to the sticks, giving the Australians the opportunity to lead by 12. Kamali puts the ball between the posts. And the Aussies are on their way to another victory.
It has been tough for them after the euphoria of Ellen Roden leads just a few days ago. A lovely play. Kennedy, it was a terrific ball for Andrew Ryan. And he found Matt Bowen, that man backing up on the inside. That will be a nice memory for him. Pick up 3 tries here tonight in this first ever game of rugby league for an Australian team in this part of the world. Brandon Costin, the Aussie himself with American heritage, as a grandparent from the US, and through the grandparent rule he qualifies to play for this team tonight. He's done a pretty good job in the unaccustomed role of halfback. Here's a mistake by the Aussies. Luke Rooney, off the back of a spill there by Scott Hill, couldn't come up with it.
They've been sloppy after points, the Australians. That's one area of their game I'm sure Wayne Bennett would be disappointed with. They just look as though they're going to get back into the contest, and then they make a mistake. They are 12 points up at this stage and will go on and win the game. But it's an area that I'm sure that they'd be disappointed in.
From the back of the scrum, Vasilakopoulos was packing in at lock forward. He loves to take them on. And a number of times himself tonight. Peterson to Costin. Comes to Scott Hill, but he has some help there from Brent Tates. Tuimoloau again from dummy half. Good charge there from one of the American forwards, but Carroll, who has been so impressive with his work again tonight, was able to stop Shane Maines. Again, from close range, they have a go. Ed Woodbridge it was who will play it. Tuimoloau comes away to Peterson, who puts the kick in. It came off the Aussie legs, back to the Tomahawks. Not played at, said the referee Rob Irwin. This will be the last tackle. It comes all a mistake. It was going to come to Peterson. But the mistake from dummy half will turn it over And the Aussies will get it after the 6th.
They just panicked. They rushed their play a little bit on that occasion. America, they were looking at this, I think, the scoreboard. They realised that with 8 minutes to go, they needed to be the next to score. They just tried to force things. They turned the ball over.
Nathan Hindmarsh standing for a long time in the tackle, and they swarmed on top of him. And a little concern for a while there. There's a chance to really dump him hard on the artificial surface. JC Roker there making the tackle on Matt Singh as Kamali works to a compressed left-hand side. Kennedy spinning out of tackles. Has been a handful here for Ryan Coleman. He eventually stopped him 5 yards short of the halfway line. Kamali to Hill, and the old combination spills one there.
Well, it gives the Americans another chance in good field position. Kamali and Hill. The combination that won the Melbourne Storm a premiership in '99. Although Hill did miss that game through injury, but he was a very important part, played a very important role in getting them there. But the United States, can they get another try before the end of the game?
Joe Becker will play it. Back to Tuamahaloa. JC Roker runs at Nathan Hindmarsh and Tony Carroll. He's enjoyed the action here tonight. Costin, a kick back away from the direction of the ball. Not a bad one also, but it was taken on the full there by Matt Singh, who took it on the full in the in-goal area. And the Australians will bring it back out to their own 20-metre line for the tap. Rick Tony has been amongst the thick of the action tonight. He was there again, forced the ball loose, but of course it was taken on the full by Matt Singh as Sivanasiva brings it back out for the Kangaroos.
He's done everything at 100%, Tony. He's been busy. He's been aggressive, tried to do everything as well as he possibly could, and that's been the attitude of the United States players. They've brought their best game to the Franklin field.
Well, Cinderella lived for about a half, you would say, right? And then it struck midnight. You said it. This is why you're the guru, because you told me by the end of the third quarter, you'll see a way different game.
Well, we thought there'd be a different game. We always thought the Australians would start slow early. I didn't think that the United States would be able to put 24 points on the board, but they've surprised me. They have surprised me with the way that they've approached this game. Not the approach to the game, but their skill level in the game. It's been very impressive. Their attitude has been first class.
And here they are, they're still fighting. And here it is, 5 minutes to go in the game, and they're still playing hard and fighting.
Christian Rahui almost breaking the line as they come back to the left-hand side. Vasilakopoulos went into the strong shoulder of Tony Carroll, who ripped the ball out in a one-on-one tackle. There'll be 6 more here for the American Tomahawks. They're just 10 out from the Australian line. Tuamahaloa goes to the left-hand side. Again, it was Rahui aiming up, but he knocked it forward. Knocked backwards, says the referee. It comes back to JC Roker, touched by an Australian, and they get 6 more tackles. Costin waits at dummy half. Looks to his right-hand side, puts an early kick in, and a chance here for the Tomahawks to get 6 more tackles. They will. They force Minicello back across the dead ball line, and their execution once again, despite being early in the tackle count, was good.
Their short little kicking game has been first class. They're big in goals here, but they've used it to their advantage. Both Peterson and Brendan Costin to control things very well for the United States team. The 2 most experienced players in their side.
So when you compare the in-goal areas here at Franklin Field tonight to what the Australians have been used to in the last month, playing in the Tri-Nations, of course, on the short pitches in the UK, the in-goals must seem enormous. Nate Seabiscuit Smith, one of the try scorers for the Americans. He plays it to Tuamahaloa. Here's Will Brazier. He will play it just outside the 10 in the middle of the park. They have options either side. It comes back to J.C. Becker, or Joe Becker rather. He stops just 6 away. Tuamahaloa goes to the left, a short ball away. Came back there. Ed Woodbridge, or rather Shane Maines, as I said earlier in the game, a player who almost made it with the New York Giants. He put down to the last cut in the NFL before an injury stopped him from actually making it to the big time here in the States. And the kick was almost pulled down by Danny Bull, but he knocked it across the dead ball line. And we'll see which way the referee rules. He says it was the Americans who touched it and knocked it forward. So the Kangaroos will have it once again from their own 20 with 3 minutes remaining in this first ever Liberty Bell Cup. Bowen tapping it and giving it to Sevenasiva. He must have been an awesome sight at times in this second half for the American defenders.
Being the best player on the field for the Australians in that second half. When the intensity was needed, he was the man that put his hand up and said, boys, follow me. I will show you the way down the field to score points. He did that. Then after some quick play the balls, when they've gone forward through the middle, they executed very well.
Good kick here by Brett Kamali, but perhaps due to the extra run on the artificial surface here, the sprint turf, the ball trickled across the dead ball line, and Nate Smith was happy to watch it there. He's been able to play very much a secondary role tonight at times. Brett Kamali to the likes of Darren Lockyer, of course, the playmaker who started the Tri-Nations final for Australia. I suppose at various stages everybody has fancied themselves for the Kangaroos as something of a ball player tonight. Willie Mason was throwing cut-out balls and flick passes. One of them cost, of course, the Kangaroos a try. And he threw a ball which was taken by Nate Smith, and he galloped a long way and showed good pace to do so. Ian Blake will return to Brisbane to continue training with the Brisbane Broncos and their feeder club, the Toowoomba Clydesdales, as he makes the transition from rugby union to rugby league in 2005. Made some good hit-ups tonight. Jeff Preston, of course, perhaps his final hit-up in the international career of him. And he was taken to ground heavily there by Ben Kennedy, who was concerned for the American captain. Not a nice way to perhaps round out your international career, was it?
Well, it's played in the right spirit, this game. There's been some good hits, but they're all been fair. It's been quite tough and willing at times.
The sportsmanship, though, between both clubs is really impressive.
It is. It's been great. It's been played in the right spirit.
No showing up your opponent. No, hasn't been dirty or chippy.
Sevenasiva comes to the defence and then was met by 2 or 3 of them before offloading to Matt Bowen. Here's Carroll, Minicello to Scott Hill. He has some room suddenly. He gives it away on the outside, a kick. Not a bad one either by Brent Tate. Coming through the middle of the park, Andrew Ryan is there. He couldn't get a touch. The ball was touched in the in-goal by one of the Americans. Picked up, but the play will come all the way back to what is the 30-yard line.
Well, it looked as though Australia were going to be able to score a point or score a try on the stroke of full time. But the play's been called back. Some lovely short hands. Scott Hill throwing the dummy, going through.
Referee Rob Irwin picking up what he saw as a forward pass in that movement. And with around about 15 seconds left and the scrum not packed, the players said that's enough, I think, tonight in Philadelphia. And they put on quite a show for a healthy crowd here as the rain held off for the majority of the 80 minutes. And they certainly enjoyed what they saw as far as big-time rugby league is concerned here in the northeast of the USA. The Kangaroos have beaten the US Tomahawks 36 points to 24. Let's hear from the Australian captain, Darren Lockyer, who's with Rob Balachandran.
Darren, congratulations on a great win, 36-24. Notwithstanding your team's win, and I understand you guys are tired and beat up, and we appreciate you here. What do you think about those Americans?
They're very good tonight. They surprised us a bit, and we had our work cut out for us in the second half, and to our boys' credit, we came home well.
Absolutely. Anything just with respect to the field that you can think about? I mean, were you guys a little upset, a little nervous about the field turf, and were you happy with it?
No, the turf was fine. The only difference to what we played on tonight really was the width of the field. We play the width of the field at home's a bit wider, so there's probably a little bit more spaces out there. But tonight, the Tomahawks really stuck it to us.
Well, you did a great job, and we really appreciate all your efforts here. And you earned your rails tonight, so go and enjoy yourself and take care. Thanks for everything.
No worries. We're glad to be here.
Thank you.
Darren Lockyer, the best player in the world, in the rugby league world, that is, putting on quite a show for the American fans here tonight. And there was a moment where he was concerned about a leg injury after being taken to the artificial turf. And, of course, Willie Mason, the major injury coming out of the game for the Australians, although it may not be a major injury as such, but the major concern for the Kangaroos. And we'll try and bring you an update as to his condition, but Rob Balachandran earlier on did say that he may well need to go to hospital tonight to get an x-ray to take a look at that. And he's in good hands because the University of Pennsylvania Medical Center is just across the road here from Franklin Field. And Jeff Preston, who winds up his international career as a US Tomahawk, changing jumpers there with Petro Sivanasiva and Matt Peterson having a word to Wayne Bennett. And he was very impressive, Matt Peterson, not only tonight, but from what we saw, Laurie, during the week at training. Very enthusiastic, coming here to play with basically what is a team of amateurs. And he did a great job playing at 5'8" tonight.
And he did. He brought over a professional outlook onto the game. And he tried to explain to his teammates what this game was all about. And speaking to John Cartwright, you took the words out of my mouth. He said he was a total professional. He mixed really well with the boys. He passed on the knowledge that he's gained by playing in the NRL competition. And tonight, I thought he was one of their best players.
Well, one of the best for the Americans taking the ball forward was, as we said, the big forward, Shane Maines. He's downstairs with Rob.
Shane, you're a former Division III All-American football player. You played your probably best game I've seen you play ever since I played with you. Tell me what you're feeling like right now.
This is definitely the pinnacle of my athletic career, an opportunity to match your wills with the best team in the world. I mean, it was a great opportunity for our squad to have the Australian team come over here. And once again, like I said, this was definitely the high point of my career. So.
Did you ever think there was a chance that you were going to actually win the game before the kickoff?
Our goal was not to necessarily come in here and try to win this game. We just wanted to improve on our little things as far as keeping possession of the ball, work hard in defense, making our tackles, and just let it, whatever happens, happens.
What do you think, and what would you say to the rest of the international community watching with respect to rugby league in the United States?
We're definitely an up-and-coming country in this sport. We love this sport, and we're willing to work hard to get this sport in our country. So the rest of the world should definitely look out.
And I know you've been spearheading a lot of the development of the game here in the United States with respect to leagues. Do you think this game and the 24-36 loss that we had will still help foster rugby league in the United States?
I think definitely. We just need to get this game on TV, get some exposure to the sport in this country, and I definitely think the American people love this sport, would love this sport, and will definitely take interest in it.
Well, Shane, you and all the boys are champions in my hearts, and I know in the hearts of Americans and Australians and everywhere around the world. So congratulations, and have a good evening.
Thank you very much, Robert.
Thanks.
Shane Maines there with Rob Balachandran. And as we said, a player who almost made it into the ranks of the NFL here in the United States, performing very well for the USA Tomahawks in a sport that is foreign to American fans tonight, but they did themselves proud. The Aussies won 36 points to 24. We'll take a break and come back to wrap it all up right after this here in Philadelphia.